What most people say about millionaires is just not true. It's not right. Guys, over the last 5 years of doing financial mentoring and financial coaching, I've met and talked to at least 75 millionaires in that time frame. And what I've learned is what I want to share with you on this video. I keep hearing these ideas online about what rich people do. Well, here's what rich people do. Follow what rich people do. Rich people do this. Rich people do that. Before I go forward in this video, I want to define what I mean in this video by rich people or millionaires. Now, I'm not talking about in this video Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. I'm not talking about the Bill Gates of the world, the super duper uber rich billionaires. That's not what I'm talking about. When I say I've met 75 millionaires and I'm explaining to you what they do and who they are, and this is the biggest lie about them, I'm talking about regular millionaires. People that have a net worth of $1 million, a net worth of 1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million, regular millionaires. Not the crazy billionaires. We ain't even discussing them. They're in a whole different stratosphere, right? So these regular rich people, some of you watching this video, you may not even call them rich, right? But I'm going to call them rich because if you got a couple $1 million, $1 million, 2 million, you're the definition of a net worth millionaire. So I'm going to call you a millionaire. What we hear about these people is a lot of times just false information. It's just wrong stuff. And if you want to be rich or you want to build some wealth or you want to be a millionaire one day, there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to stop believing some of this stuff that we're hearing about who rich people are. A better idea is get to know a few rich people, right, for yourself. And it'll shock you because if you're not rich, all the stuff you hear about rich people, that stuff is wrong. And when you learn and talk to and meet rich people or people that are millionaires, you'll figure it out, right? It may sort of shock you, but you'll figure it out. These people aren't what most people say rich people are. Let me just clarify this. Here's the type of things that I always hear about rich people. I always hear, those rich people, man, they use these special strategies, right? They use whole life insurance, where you borrow against your cash value in the life insurance to sometime 10, 12, 15 years down the road, borrow money from yourself. People say that's what rich people do. Or they say, rich people are using these fancy leverage techniques and leverage tactics that most people just aren't aware of and don't have access to, right? And some of that could be true. There's certain things that once you get over $1 million net worth or you're an accredited investor, you have access to things. But using that leverage and tactics, that's not what most rich people do, right? Most millionaires. I also hear this. Rich people, they have these high salaries. Man, they making all this money. No wonder they're rich. A lot of rich people don't make a lot of money. They just got wealthy habits. Or here's another one I hear a lot. Rich people, man, most of them, they inherited that money. Most of them had a rich parent or rich grandparent that left them some money. Yeah, there's some uber rich people that happens to, but 80%, 78, 80% of all millionaires, they didn't have no money left to them. So that myth is not quite right. Okay, in real life with real millionaires. Or here's another one I hear. The rich, they have it easy. The system just favors them. Or they have here's another one. They have a certain skin color that protects them and protects their wealth and helps them get wealthier. And I'm here to tell you that for the most part, that ain't it. That's not really the secret. It's not really all these secret things that you hear about rich people. Look, the vast majority of those things are just lies. The rich don't necessarily have it easier on the way to becoming rich. Millionaires on the way to becoming millionaires don't have it easier. In fact, most people don't even actually know any rich people. Most people don't even know millionaires. But we have these preconceived notions about millionaires, right? Most people get their idea of what millionaires are and what they do from other poor people or other people who are middle class or other people who are not rich themselves. I mean, just ask yourself this question. How many rich people do I know? How many millionaires do I know? Is it one? Is it none? Is it 2, 4, 6, right? In the last 5 years of doing these one-on-one personal financial mentoring and coaching sessions that I do with people, it's been at least 75 people that have come through. I got it written down somewhere that have come through, and because I know it because we always talk about their net worth. Oftentimes we share screens, we look at their accounts, we dig deep, and these are bona fide millionaires. And we're looking at their money and we're looking at their wealth and what they've accumulated over the years. And we're talking this thing through. But here's the deal. 99% of them ain't doing none of the stuff that people say rich people are doing. They're not doing the stuff that people say millionaires do. Here's what I've actually seen. Let me just kind of tell you what I've seen from millionaires, okay? First, the millionaires that I've talked to and met, they're typically quiet. They don't make a lot of noise. They move about quietly in Walmart. They're moving about quietly in Target and the grocery store, wherever you're at, whatever city you in. You cannot tell who they are. And they're usually the people that aren't rushing, right? They taking their time, they chilling for the most part, right? Secondly, from the millionaires that I know, they work off structure. They usually work off like a plan. Okay, let me give you this side. Let me tell you this. Typically, they have all their stuff written down. They know what they got. They're very, let me say it differently. They're very intentional with their personal finances. So, and I just noticed that they're focused on their money. The people that focus on their money usually have more of it. That's just kind of how this thing works out, right? Over the course of time. So these people that are millionaires, they are paying attention to what they got for sure. And I also noticed that a lot of these millionaires, they're givers. I don't care if it's tithing to their church or if they're helping other people or giving their time, spending the weekend, helping at some type of homeless shelter, domestic violence shelter. They're giving back something. Most of them, they find a way to give. It just tends to be something that a lot of them do that I've noticed. Not to mention, as I said, they don't look rich. They're unassuming. They're driving Toyota Corollas, Toyota Camrys, Hondas, Hyundais, right? They're driving regular cars. And they don't look like you would think a millionaire looks. That's part of how they became a millionaire. So the lie is, oh, they're driving a fancy car, or they're wearing fancy clothes, or they've got on fancy shoes that cost $300 and $400 and $500. But that's a lie. It's not true. They're disciplined with their time. Let's talk about that for a hot second. Money ain't everything to people that are millionaires, but people that have a lot of money, they focus heavily on spending their time in a quality way and an efficient way. You don't want to be wasting their time. But the bottom line is this. Millionaires, they don't advertise their wealth, and they typically want to stay low key. And what they don't do is they don't chase fast money, typically. They're not chasing the latest get-rich-quick scheme, right? Or the latest. They're typically not chasing that. Not always, but typically. And they just don't jump from strategy to do this, to do that. They got a plan. And a lot of times that plan is what led to them becoming millionaires, so they stick to it. They got good habits. Typically, they're not out here looking for shortcuts. So, like for us, if you're watching this video and you're saying to yourself, I want to be a millionaire one day, right? How can I build some wealth? This is what you need to focus on. Every video, guys, I don't like to just come on and talk about what's wrong. I like to talk about what we can do. So we have some action steps, something that we can put to practice in our own lives. I think that's very important. Things that we can do if we want to think and move like millionaires move, and while we're on our path to get to millionaire status, stay consistent. Control your spending, your expenses. Look, sometimes you can't control the money coming in a heartbeat. But what you can do every single day is control the money going out. So control your expenses or your spending and just build over time. Be patient. Don't think that this thing has to happen for you all in a 6 months. It's going to take longer than that. It's going to take some time. So be patient with it and focus on your behavior around the concept of personal finances, your money. I look at your money as your capital. So be a wise steward and manager over the capital that you bring in. And a big one is don't try to look like money, okay? Don't try to look like you have a whole bunch of money. That's a mistake because a lot of people go poor trying to look rich. A lot of people end up having nothing while trying to look like they have something. You don't want to be that. Wealth is not about what you look like on the outside. Wealth is how you feel on the inside. The thing is this, just do the basic stuff better than most people. What is the basic stuff when it comes to personal finances? Well, the basic stuff is what we've been talking about, right? The budgeting, the not having no bad debt, the having some structure, the having some frugalness to you so you're not out spending and being this incredible consumer, right? Buying assets that are going up in value. Those are things, that's the basics. Think about it like this. Like if you had never played basketball a day in your life and you walk into the gym and you ask me, hey, can you teach me how to play basketball? Well, listen. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start you with dribbling, passing, and shooting from close range. I'm going to start you with the basics. Just imagine if 2 years from now I can put you in a basketball game and you can hit every layup, right? You can hit every shot within 5 feet of the basket. I'm not going to bring you into a gym and teach you how to play basketball and start you out by shooting half quarters and 3-pointers. That ain't the basics. The greatest basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey players in the world, what they do is they understand and do the fundamentals better than everybody else, right? They're not the fastest, the tallest, the strongest. They're just the most fundamentally sound. And so our money, if we want to become a millionaire, our money has to be the same way. We got to be the most fundamentally sound. We got to have a plan. We got to have a structure. We got to be budgeting every month. We got to make sure we're buying assets and we're never buying things that are going down in value on a regular basis, right? We got to have clothes and things like that, shoes. But I'm talking about big, large purchases that go down in value. We don't want to be paying a bunch of interest. We want things that are going up in value. That's the basics to becoming a millionaire. And that's what millionaires do exceptionally well. Better than most people. That's what allowed them to become a millionaire, is doing the basics, right? So the bottom line is this. After talking to these people, these 75 millionaires over the years, I've learned that to become good with money, have some wealth, become a millionaire, it's just simply do the fundamentals. Be good at what you do, have your structure, have your good habits, plan, budget, save, have a philosophy, control your spending. Make sure you have some money for emergencies and things that go wrong. That's it. That's what you got to do. All the other stuff that you're hearing about millionaires out here, those are lies. Wealth and becoming a millionaire is based on the fundamentals, not the fancy strategies that you may hear out in these YouTube streets or on the social media platforms. No, forget all that. That's the biggest lie about millionaires. Look, if you want to learn more, join my free webinar where I show you how to take control over your money using a simple, proven system that I use to become a millionaire. No complicated strategies, just the fundamentals. Look, if you got value out of this video, do me a favor, smash that like button, share this video with somebody who you know, and remember, the best person who's going to take care of that old you is the young you. Until the next video, peace.